Hello friends, a very warm welcome to the discussion of another topic pertaining to CSAT and similar examinations. Today's topic is profit and loss, and it has been seen that questions have been asked on this particular topic in CSAT in almost all the years. It is a very important topic, and the basics that we learned in percentages would be used aplenty while solving questions. So let us have a look at the basic concepts and figure out which would be the shortest possible and the most correct method to reach the answer. First of all, the very basics. Cost price. Now, what is the cost price? The price at which an article is bought. So you go to the market, you buy an article for rupees 100, that becomes the cost price of the article. Then what is selling price? Now, this article that you had bought for 100 rupees, you go to another market and sell it for rupees 140. So hence, your selling price becomes rupees 140. So the price at which an article is sold is selling price. Then what is profit? The very thing that all of us are looking for. If selling price is greater than cost price, then profit is made. And it is calculated as profit equals selling price minus cost price, where selling price essentially has to be greater than the cost price. So you sold the item at rupees 140 here. You had bought the item at rupees 100 as we see here. So hence you made a profit of rupees 40 over selling this article. Then God forbid if you make loss, then what is loss? If selling price is lesser than the cost price, then loss is made. And it is calculated as loss equals cost price minus selling price, where cost price is greater than selling price. So let us say that this item you had bought for rupees 100, you wanted to sell it at a higher price, but you did not get a customer, and now this item is stuck with you. So you compromise and you sell it to someone at rupees 80. So hence 100 becomes your cost price, 80 becomes the selling price. So you make a loss of rupees 20. Now profit percent. Now profit made on rupees 100, it is always calculated on cost price. Now then loss percent is again loss made on rupees 100, it is always calculated on cost price. So profit percent or loss percent is always calculated on cost price, not on selling price. And as we know, when we talk about percentage, we know that percent means per is this dividing line between numerator and denominator, and cent means 100. So X percent is X by 100. So profit or loss percent would be calculated as actual profit or loss divided by cost price into 100. So these are a few basics that you must be acquainted with. So this is a quick brush up of the terminology that would be used in profit and loss. Furthermore, what are overheads or extra expenditure? Apart from the cost price of an article, it is the additional charges incurred. Now, what are those additional charges? What could these be? Like cost towards transportation. You buy a refrigerator for rupees 10,000. Then from the market to your home, it needs to be transported, so there would be some expenditure that you would incur towards that. Then you would pay the labor also. Let us say that you're staying on the second floor. You want some people to pull it up or carry it upstairs. You would pay them as well. So labor. You would be paying rent of your shop if at all you are into a business. You would be paying salaries to your employees, etc. Unless stated in the question, these charges are included in the cost price of the article mentioned in the question. So whenever a question suggests that this is the cost price of an item, it will include the overheads or extra expenditure incurred on that article. Unless it is explicitly stated otherwise, that so much and so expenditure has been incurred towards transportation, rent, salaries or labor. And if at all it is mentioned, then we add that to the cost price of the article to get the final cost price. So the final cost price shall be cost price of the article plus overheads. If not mentioned, then should be assumed as 0. Marked price, which is also known MRP. So in short, marked price is written as MP. It is also called MRP. MRP, which is written on all the items that you buy, is nothing but it is maximum retail price. So kindly know that it is the maximum price at which an item can get sold. Beyond this, as a seller, you are not supposed to charge the customer. So it is the maximum price generally printed on the cover of an article at which an article can be sold. Then what is discount? Discount is something that we always ask for, we always look for. We are in search of discount whenever we go for shopping. It is the amount that is reduced by the seller or subtracted from the marked price while selling the article. So discount percent is always calculated on the marked price. So suppose the marked price of a shirt is rupees 1000 and on that a discount of 30% is allowed, which means the selling price of that article. Now how much is this 30% of discount? The 30% of discount in rupees shall be rupees 300. So the final selling price of an article is always marked price minus discount. Both are in rupees. So the selling price in this case shall become 1000 minus 300, which is nothing but 700. Successive discounts. Now, what does the term successive mean? It means one after the other. So when you are given discounts one after the other, then you have been given successive discounts. So on the marked price of an article, if first R1% discount is offered, then after deducting the discount, on the remaining money, another R2% discount is offered, and so on, then R1% and R2% are called successive discounts. So taking the same example, let us say that the marked price of a shirt is rupees 1000 and on that two discounts are offered. You must have observed during the sale offers on various products wherein successive discounts are offered, 50% plus 30% off, 60% plus 25% off, likewise. So you're not supposed to add them directly. So here, let us say you are offered successive discounts of 50% plus 50%. Now as a layman, you will add 50% and 50% and you would say this is 100% discount. So this shirt is coming to me as free, but that is not the case. So on this marked price, the first discount is applied, that is 50%, which is equal to rupees 500, half of 1000. Now marked price minus first discount becomes 1000 minus 500. So now the selling price of the shirt should be 500. Then the second discount is applied on this amount, that is the amount obtained after deducting the first discount. So now second discount is 50% off rupees 500, which is 250. So final selling price in such a case becomes rupees 500 as we have here minus 250, the second discount. So it becomes rupees 250. So if 50% plus 50% successive discounts are offered to you, that does not mean 100% discount, nothing comes for free. You will still have to pay rupees 250. Not a bad bargain. Now, selling price in actual can be written as 100 plus minus profit percent or loss percent divided by 100 into cost price. Now that's what we have learned in our earlier classes. Now this 100 plus profit percent by 100, 100 minus loss percent by 100. In actual, if you open this up, this becomes 100 by 100 plus profit percent by 100 into CP. Let us take the case of profit. So this shall be written as 100 by 100 is 1, and because it is profit percent, so this shall become point P into CP. So kindly remember this. Now 100 by 100 is 1 and profit percent here shall be taken as P percent by 100 into the cost price. So what you got to remember is selling price equals 1 plus minus profit percent or loss percent into cost price. Now this way you will be able to solve the questions much more faster. Now what do you do? How do you convert these percentages into fractions so as to provide you with the ease of calculations? We discussed that in percentages. but let's have a quick brush up in terms of application of these conversions while solving questions based on profit and loss. Let us say if profit percent is 20%, then selling price shall be 1 plus 0.2 times cost price. This is profit percent, which is 20%. So that shall become 20 by 100 is 0.2. And 1 is nothing but 100 by 100, as we saw here. So it becomes 1.2 times cost price. Now, how do you convert it into fractions? You need to just look at the profit percent. What is that given to you? It is given to you as 20%. Now, what is the fraction equivalent of 20%? That is 1 by 5. So this 1.2 times actually is nothing, but it is 120%. This particular part. If you see 100 plus profit percent, 100 plus 20, that is 120%. So 120%, if you need to find out, you just need to add the denominator to the numerator so that it becomes 6 by 5. So if cost price is 555 and profit is 20%, then selling price shall be 6 by 5 into 555. So you can see that very easily this 5 will cancel 555 to get you 111 multiplied with 6 becomes 666. So likewise, your calculations become much more easy. Now look at this one. If profit percent is 25%, then selling price will be 1 plus 0.25 times CP. Whatever figure is given to you as profit percent, you just need to divide that by 100 to get this figure. So this is nothing but 25 by 100. So it becomes 1.25 times CP. So now 25% we know is 1 by 4. So 125% shall become 5 by 4. This 4 gets added to the numerator. And mind you, 125% is 1.25 times. Now if profit is 33.3%, what would you do? Then selling price will be 1 plus 0.33 times CP. That is 1.33 times CP. So 33.3% we know is 1 by 3. So 133.3% shall become, just add this 3 in the denominator to the 1 in the numerator to get 4 by 3. So we get 4 by 3 times CP. So that becomes very simple because it will be very difficult if CP was given to you as 333. Then 1.33 multiplied with 333 is going to take some time. So rather than doing that, if you directly take this as 4 by 3 times the cost price, you know these cancel. Your selling price works out to be 444, which is very simple. So if profit percent is 40%, then selling price shall be 1 plus 0.4 times CP, that is 1.4 CP. Once again, 40% is 2 by 5. Then 140%, which is 1.4 times, shall be equal to, this 5 gets added to the numerator, so becomes 7 by 5, as we can see here. So such conversions you should be very good at. And for that, do not forget the fraction to percentage and percentage to fraction conversions, as we learned during the discussion of the topic percentage. We talked about profit, let's talk about loss. If loss percent is given to you as 20%, then selling price shall be 1 minus 0.2. As we learned, this is 1 minus loss percent. Now you know selling price is 100 minus loss percent by 100 into CP. See, writing this down also takes so much of time, isn't it so? So this 100 by 100 becomes 1, and loss percent by 100 would be the loss percent figure divided by 100, which in this case is 20 by 100, that is 0.2. So from 1 you will reduce this 0.2 because it is a loss. So 1 is that entity which is your cost price. So 20% lesser than that would be minus 0.2 times the cost price. So it becomes 0.8 times cost price. 0.8 as a fraction, you know, is 4 by 5. If loss percent would have been 25%, then selling price is 1 minus 0.25. So 1 minus whatever is given to you as loss percent figure divided by 100. So all that you need to do is look at this decimal mark. So that you need to place in front of the loss percent figure or value. So you get 0.75 times cost price, and 0.75 is 75%, which is equal to 3 by 4 as given here. Now similarly, if loss percent is 33.3%, then selling price shall be 1 minus 0.33 times cost price, which is 0.67 times cost price. So 0.67 or 667 is nothing but 66.7%, which when we convert into fraction becomes 2 by 3. So if loss percent would have been 40%, then selling price shall be 1 minus 0.4 times cost price, that is 0.6 times CP. So 0.6 times is nothing but 60%, and 60% we know that its fraction equivalent is 3 by 5. So hence it becomes 3 by 5 times cost price. Because of loss, the selling price becomes lesser than the cost price. So let us have a look at this table, which tells you that when profit percent is given to you, then what should be multiplied with cost price and what is its fractional equivalent. So if 10% is the profit, selling price becomes 1.1 times cost price, and 1.1 is 11 by 10 as a fraction. If it is 12.5% the profit, then the selling price becomes 1 point, whatever is given here, you just need to shift the decimal point towards left 2 times. So it becomes 0.125 here. Now for that you need to know that 12.5% fraction equivalent is 1 by 8. So 112.5% fraction equivalent will be, you have to add the denominator to the numerator. So it shall become 9 by 8. Now similarly for others, 20% is 1.2 times, and 20% as we discussed is 1 by 5, the fractional equivalent. So 120% shall become 6 by 5, adding denominator to the numerator and so on. Now what if loss percent is mentioned, then what should be multiplied to the cost price to get you the selling price, and what is its fractional equivalent? If 10% is the loss made in a transaction, then 1 minus 0.1, which works out to be 0.9, that needs to be multiplied with the cost price. See here 10% was profit, so 1 plus 0.1, which is equal to 1.1, that is multiplied. Here it is a loss which is made, so 1 minus 0.1, that is you have one entity of cost price or one unit of cost price. From that you reduce the loss, which is 0.1 unit. So it becomes 0.9 times, and the fractional equivalent for 0.9, we know it is 9 by 10. So if the loss made is 12.5%, in that case we need to multiply cost price with 1 minus 0.125, which is 0.875. Scary. How can we multiply 0.875 with a number? It will take more time. Yes, it will. And that is why we are converting it into fraction. We know 12.5% fraction equivalent is 1 by 8. And now if at all there is a loss which is being made, that is we have to reduce this from the cost price. In that case, please remember, when loss is made, then you take the denominator up and subtract the numerator from it. So 8 minus 1 by 8, which is 7 by 8, shall be the fractional equivalent for 0.875. Now similarly, if loss made is 20%, so we know that we need to multiply cost price with 1 minus 0.2, so that selling price becomes 0.8 times cost price. 0.8, we already know the fraction equivalent for 80% is 4 by 5. 100% was cost price. Out of that, 20% is lost. So 80% of the money remains. And 80%'s fractional equivalent is 4 by 5. Similarly, if 25% loss is made, then 1 minus 0.25, we get 0.75. So selling price will be 0.75 times the cost price. And 75% is 3 by 4. That is the fractional equivalent. So it is going to be a great help if at all you know how to do these conversions. You just need to remember the fractional equivalent of all the percentage values that we discussed during the session for percentages. For 10%, for 9.09%, for 33.33%, for 14.28%, which you must remember that its fraction equivalent is 1 by 7. So if at all you are able to manage this conversion part, then solving the questions will be much, much easier. Now let us have a look at a particular question here. Now these questions are being used to install the concepts into your mind. So if an article is bought at rupees 1,000, so what is that? It is being bought. So that means cost price is rupees 1,000 and sold for rupees 1200. So that means selling price is rupees 1200. Then find out the profit percent. Now what is profit here? It is nothing but selling price minus cost price, which is 1200 minus 1000, that is rupees 200. And profit percent is always calculated on the cost price. Actual profit 200 divided by the actual cost price into 100. So these zeros cancel, this zero cancels, left over is 10 and 2, profit percent shall be 20%. No need to write so many things. It should become very evident to you that 200 over 1000 is 20%. If an article is bought at rupees 1000 and sold at 20% profit, then find out the selling price. Once again, cost price is 1000, profit percent is 20%. So selling price here is 1 plus 0.2 into cost price. This is the profit percent. Remember, selling price is 1 plus profit percent or 1 minus loss percent. These many times the cost price. So selling price here is 1.2 times the cost price. Here you can multiply directly to get your selling price as rupees 1200. Now if an article is sold at rupees 1200 at 20% profit, then find out the cost price of the article. See here, the same values are being used, and in three different ways how do you solve a question is being shown to you. The purpose is to know what method is to be used for different types of information. So sold for 1200, selling price is given to us at 1200. Then profit percent is mentioned as 20%. Now we know selling price is 1 plus profit percent and cost price is what you need to find out. So cost price becomes selling price by 1 plus profit percent. So cost price here shall be selling price is given to you as 1200. 1 plus 0.2, this is what? Profit percent, which is given to us as 20%. So this shall be 1.2. Cost price works out to be rupees 1000. So this formula is important. The conversions are important. As of now, we don't need the conversions because the values are very straight, very simple to work with. Now, if an article is sold at rupees 1200 and a profit of rupees 200 is made, then find out the profit percent. Selling price is 1200, profit is 200. So cost price is selling price minus profit, because profit is selling price minus cost price. So these two get interchanged. So cost price is equal to selling price minus profit. Now that is equal to 1200 minus 200 as we know. So cost price is rupees 1000. So this is how we can play about with these values in different ways. Now let us come to a question. A man buys a horse and a carriage for a total sum of rupees 3000. So what is given here? Cost price of horse plus cost price of carriage is rupees 3000. Now this is the information given. If he sells the horse at 20% profit and the carriage at 10% loss and still earns an overall profit of 2%, then find out the cost price of the horse. Whatever you need to find out, it is unknown. We always assume that to be X. So this 3000 rupees is the total cost of horse and the carriage. Let us assume the cost price of horse as X, then the cost price of car should become the remaining amount out of 3000, which is 3000 minus this X. Now it is also given to us that overall profit is 2%. Now 2% of how much? Of 3000, which is the total cost price. Now this is equal to profit earned on selling the horse plus loss made on selling the carriage. So overall profit is 2% of 3000 and profit earned on selling the horse shall be 20% of cost price of horse we have taken as X plus loss incurred while selling the carriage, that is 10% of the cost price of the carriage. Cost price of the carriage is 3000 minus X. So 2% of 3000 happens to be rupees 60. Third, 3000, 1% will mean take out two zeros. Leftover is 30. So 1% is rupees 30. 2% is rupees 60. So 20% of X can be written as 0.2 times X plus 10% of 3000 minus X. Now, this 10% of 3000 minus x has to be a negative figure. Why? Because loss means you have lost money. So that has to be negative. So instead of using plus symbol here, we will make use of negative symbol. Because one is profit, the other is loss, and loss is always negative. So 10% of 3000 is 300. Now this minus and this minus becomes plus. So 10% of x means 0.1x. So you just need to resolve the statement, this equation. So this minus 300 goes to the left hand side. It becomes 300 plus 60, which is equal to 0.2x plus 0.1x, that is 0.3x. So the value of x here should be 360 by 0.3, or let us say 3600 by 3, which is rupees 1200. So the cost price of the horse must have been 1200, which means the cost price of carriage must be 3000 minus this 1200, which is rupees 1800. But we want the cost price of the horse. So if you want, you can perform a check here, and that is rupees 60 is the overall profit. Now 20% is the profit which is made on selling the horse. Cost price here is 1200, so 20% of that will be rupees 240. Minus loss made here is 10%, and the cost price is 1800 as you just found out. So it shall be 180. So this fits in. 60 is equal to 240 minus 180. Moving on to the next question. If the selling price of 2 apples is equal to the cost price of 3 apples, then find the profit percent. Now, nothing is mentioned in terms of money. What is the cost of 1 apple? So obviously we can't calculate in terms of money. So what is mentioned is number of items. So now in such a case, if the selling price of X number of an article is equal to the cost price of Y number of the articles, then the profit percent is Y minus X by X into 100, and loss percent, where Y obviously is greater than X to get you a positive value, because profit is a positive value. And if Y is less than X, then loss will be made. In that case, your answer will be negative. So what do we have here? Once again, if the selling price of 2 apples is equal to the cost price of 3 apples. So cost price of 3 apples, the value of Y is 3. Selling price of 2 apples, so the value of X is 2. So the profit percent here is Y minus X by X into 100. That is 3 apples minus 2 apples, the quantities are mentioned, divided by 2 into 100. This is 1. So there is a profit of 50% which is made here. Now applying the same principle, if the selling price of 4 mangoes is equal to the cost price of 5 mangoes, cost price is Y, selling price, the number of items shall be taken as X. So once again, profit percent is Y minus X by X into 100. That is, the value of Y here is 5, value of X here is 4, by 4 into 100 goes by 25. 5 minus 4 is 1, so 1 into 25, 25% is the profit made. So similar kind of question, if selling price of 4 chairs is equal to the cost price of 3 chairs. Now this time Y here is less than X because it is 3 and this is 4. Then find out the loss percent. In such a case, loss will be made. So loss percent, which will be a negative value, is Y minus X by X into 100. That is 3 minus 4 by 4 into 100. That is 1 by 4 into 100, which is 25%, and this is negative, which indicates the loss which is made here. So the negative symbol basically indicates that loss is being made. Another one, if the selling price of 10 laptops is the same as the cost price of 7 laptops, then find out the loss percent. Now once again, this is X. Cost price of 7 laptops would mean the value of Y is 7. Once again, Y here is less than X. This is 7 and this is 10. So loss is being made. So loss percent is Y minus X by X into 100, and this shall be a negative value. So this is 7 minus 10 by 10 into 100 cancels. This works out to be minus 3. So it is 30% loss indicated by the negative symbol. Now, a man purchases some pencils at the rate of 12 pencils for rupees 10 and sells at the rate of 10 pencils for rupees 12. Now find out the profit percent earned. Now one way of solving this would be to find out the cost price of each pencil. That should be 10 by 12, rupees 10 by 12 pencils. That is 5 by 6. Then selling price of each pencil, that is for 12 rupees 10 pencils are sold. So it should be 6 by 5. Then profit percent is equal to actual profit is what? Selling price minus cost price. This is selling price minus cost price. Now divided by actual profit divided by cost price, that is 5 by 6 into 100. Pretty long. I will tell you a shortcut for this. First of all, let us get the basics right. So this is 36 minus 25 by 30 into 6 by 5 into 100. This 5 by 6 reciprocal we're taking it up. So this 36 minus 25 is 11. 6 and 30 cancel by 5, and 5 into 5 is 25, into 4 is 100. So 11 into 4 is what we are left with. So there has to be a profit of 44%. But in such kind of questions, where you see that 12 pencils and rupees 12, rupees 10 and 10 pencils, two same figures are used. Only two values are used, 10 and 12. First, 12 pencils for rupees 10. Second, 10 pencils for rupees 12. Same values are used. In such a case, we will look at this concept. If X number of an item is purchased for rupees Y and Y number of the same item is sold at rupees X, these happen to be the same, right? Then profit percent can be calculated as X square minus Y square by Y square into 100, and loss percent, where this Y will be greater than X, will become Y square minus X square by Y square. Or you can employ only this formula, and if at all you get a negative value, that would indicate that loss is being made. So X square minus Y square by Y square. So X square minus Y square by Y square into 100. Just write it 2-3 times in your notebook and you will be able to memorize this. So now we will see how we can use this formula to find the answer to the question. A man purchases some pencils at the rate of 12 pencils. So this is X at rupees 10. This is Y. 10, so Y, this is X. So we are making use of the formula profit percent equals Y square minus X square by Y square into 100. So we have identified the values for X and Y. So let us make use of the formula profit percent equals X square minus Y square by Y square into 100. So 12 square is X square, 10 square is Y square. We are taking the difference of these two and dividing by Y square. So this works out to be 12 square is 144, 10 square is 100, which again 144 minus 100 will give us 44, and these two hundreds will cancel. So 44% is the answer. Directly you can get it. But what if the values don't happen to be the same? By that I mean rupees 10, 12 pencils, rupees 12, 10 pencils, if at all different values are used. Like in this question, a fruit seller purchases oranges at the rate of 3 oranges for rupees 5 and sells at the rate of 2 oranges for rupees 4. Then find out the profit percent. Well, you can always use the very basic method, and that is that 3 oranges are for rupees 5. So the cost price of each orange shall become 5 by 3, and selling price of each orange shall become 2 oranges for rupees 4, 4 by 2, that is 2. Then profit percent we know is actual profit by cost price into 100. So the actual profit we know is selling price minus cost price. So this is selling price, this is cost price. So 2 minus 5 by 3 divided by 5 by 3 into 100. So you can always use such kind of methods. So this shall become 3 to the 6 minus 5, that is 1 by 3 into this 5 by 3 goes up. So 3 by 5 into 100. So 3 and 3 cancel. 5 and 100 cancel. So a profit of 20% is made. Now if you want a shortcut wherein you can avoid these calculations, you can simply use this concept. If X number of an item is bought at rupees Y and A number of the item is sold at rupees B, then profit percent is BX minus AY by AY into 100. So B into X, A into Y, that's all that you need to do. Now for loss, obviously you will interchange these two, or don't interchange, get the negative value, still that will indicate that there is a loss being made. So AY minus BX is what you will take instead of BX minus AY. If not, keep using this. If you get a negative value for this, negative value indicates that a loss is being made. So now let us do this one. Now there are 3 oranges which are bought for rupees 5 and 2 oranges are sold for rupees 4. So this is X, this is Y, this is A and this is B. Let's do this. So let us cross multiply this. So profit percent here shall be BX minus AY by AY into 100. So it shall become 3 into 4. This is B, this is X, minus 2 oranges and rupees 5 is the value of Y. So 2 into 5 by 2 into 5 into 100 goes off. So this is 12 minus 10 into 10. So that is 12 minus 10 is 2. So it has to be 20%. A shopkeeper using a faulty weighing balance cheats by 10% while buying an item and cheats by 10% while selling the item at cost price. Find out his actual profit percent. Let's take an example here. Let us say that this shopkeeper is buying rice. Now the cost price of rice per kg, let us say, is rupees 10. Now he was supposed to buy 100 kgs of rice, but he is using a faulty weighing balance and he is cheating by 10%, but cheats by 10% and buys how much? 110 kg of rice for rupees 1000. See, if he was supposed to pay rupees 10 per kg for 100 kgs of rice, then his original cost price should have been rupees 1000, that is 10 into 100, but this would have been for 100 kgs of rice. But what he did instead, he cheated the weight. His weighing balance showed 100 kgs, but in actual, the rice that he bought for rupees 1000 weighed 110 kgs. So he cheated by 10%. So 110 kg of rice he has bought for rupees 1000. So after cheating, cost price per kg of rice shall become rupees 1000 by 110, which is 100 by 11 rupees per kg. Now similarly, while selling the item, he said that I am selling the item at cost price. So I will sell 100 kgs to you, but he cheats by 10%. Now this time what does he do? He sets his weighing balance in such a way that when you buy rice from him, you don't get 100 kgs, you will get 90 kgs. And why is it so? He is cheating by 10%. While buying, he cheats by 10% and buys more quantity of rice at the same price of rupees 1000. But while selling for rupees 1000, he sells less quantity of rice, that is 90 kgs, but for rupees 1000. So selling price after cheating will become that he is selling at the cost price, which is rupees 1000, but he's selling only 90 kgs for rupees 1000, not 110 kgs. So here the selling price becomes 100 by 9. Now profit percent, you know, is actual profit by cost price into 100. Now what is actual profit? Selling price minus cost price. Now this is a selling price after cheating. This is a cost price after cheating. So 100 by 9 minus 100 by 11. This is the actual profit divided by 100 by 11, which is the actual cost price after cheating, into 100. Now this shall be equal to 1100 minus 900 by 99 into 11 by 100 into 100. These two hundreds, they cancel. 11 cancels 9. So 1100 minus 900 is 200. And 200 by 9 is what we are left with. That becomes 22.22% as the actual profit. Now in case while buying the cheating is 10%, while selling also the cheating is 10%, these two amounts happen to be the same, that is, let us say X. Then you can find out the profit percent by saying this is 2X by 100 minus X into 100. Now employing this formula, when we know that X% is the cheating that happens while buying and X% is the cheating while selling the item also. If this X happens to be the same, then use the formula 2X by 100 minus X into 100. Now this shall become 2 into 10 by 100 minus 10. This has to be into 100. So 20 by 90 into 100, zeros cancel. So 2 by 9 into 100, we should know it is 22.22%. Now look at this one. A shopkeeper sells goods at cost price but cheats by using a 960 grams weight in place of 1 kg weight. So this is another type in which cheating is happening and a question has been made, but this is different from the last one. So already it is given to you what is the weight that he uses. It happens that when you go out to buy vegetables, at times they make use of some stone and they say, okay, this weighs 1 kg actually, but they do not use the appropriate standard weight with the inscription, this is 1 kg or this is 500 grams, the black ones, hexagonal or octagonal in shape. So he's using 960 gram weight in place of 1 kg weight. So 40 grams is what he's earning on selling every 1 kg. So simply what you can do is original weight minus incorrect weight by incorrect weight into 100 shall give you the profit percent. You can employ this particular formula, which in this case is 1000 minus 960 by 960 into 100. Works out to be 40 by 960 into 100, which is 41 by 6%. Now, this is quite simple to remember, but in case you don't want to, then also it is quite simple for you to know this, that on selling every 1000 grams, he is actually selling 960 grams and claiming he's selling 1000 grams. So he is earning a profit of 40 grams on selling actually 960 grams. So 40 by 960 into 100. So even if you don't want to remember the formula, at least remember the logic. So 40 grams is what he is making as profit on selling every 960 grams and claiming that I am selling 1000 grams to you. Now a man buys 2 books, each for rupees 80. So cost price of book 1 and cost price of book 2 both are rupees 80. On selling the 2 books, he earns 15% profit on one book and 15% loss on the other book. So profit percent here is 15%, loss percent here is 15%. What is his overall profit or loss percent? Well, the cost price of 2 articles is the same. And one is sold at X% profit and the other is sold at X% loss. The profit and loss earned in each case bears the same value, 15% profit, 15% loss. So hence no profit or loss can be made because profit or loss will be calculated on cost price. So 15% of rupees 80 is the profit made, so positive amount. So 15% of rupees 80 is the loss made, so negative amount. Both amounts are equal because 15% is being calculated on rupees 80. So as both amounts are equal, one is positive, the other is negative, they will cancel each other. So no profit, no loss. But in this case, a man sells 2 books at rupees 100 each. Now this is, let us say, book A and this is book B. The selling price of each book is rupees 100. Now if he earns 10% profit on selling one book and makes 10% loss on selling the second book. So here he is making a profit of 10% and here he is making a loss of 10%. Mind you, please remember, profit and loss percentage is always calculated over cost price. So we know that selling price is equal to 1 plus minus profit percent or loss percent into cost price. So cost price here will be equal to selling price divided by 1 plus minus profit percent or loss percent. So cost price in this case shall be 100 by 1.1 and cost price in this case will be different. It will be 100 by 0.9 because loss is being made here. So this is 1 minus 0.10. Now in such a case you don't need to perform any calculations. If the selling price is the same for 2 items and the profit percent and loss percent values are also the same, let us say X%, one case X% profit, the other case X% loss, in such a case always there will be a loss made and that shall be given by X square by 100%. The value of X here is 10%, so it is 10 square by 100, which is 1%. So in this case, 1% loss will be made. So if the selling price of 2 articles is the same and the profit earned on selling one article is X% and loss made on selling the second article is X%, that is the same value in each case, then in such a case, always loss is made, which is given by X square by 100%, that is 10 square by 100, 1% loss. Always loss will be made. Let us say that the value of X would have been 20%. That is profit of 20% on selling an item at rupees 100 on selling another item for rupees 100, loss of 20%. So selling price in each case is same. Here profit percent is 20% and here loss percent is 20%. Then overall there will always be a loss made. And how much is that? X square by 100%. That is 20 square by 100. That is 400 by 100. 4% loss. The selling price of two fans is equal and the combined sum of their cost price is rupees 2300. If one of the fans is sold at 10% profit and the other is sold at 20% profit, both are sold at profit and both profit values are different. One is 10%, the other is 20%. Then find out the cost price of the fan which is sold at 20% profit. See, the combined cost price is 2300, fan 1 and fan 2. Fan 1 is sold at a profit of 10%. Fan 2 is sold at a profit of 20% and the selling prices are equal. So we know that selling price equals 1 plus profit percent. Here we are taking the case of profit percent because loss is not being made into CP. So as the selling price for both the items would be the same, this is, let us say, F10 and F20, so that we know that this is the cost of the fan which is sold at 10% profit and this is the cost of the fan which is sold at 20% profit. So the selling price of the first fan which is sold at 10% profit shall be 1.1 times this fan's cost price and the selling price of the second fan is 1.2 times, and we have to find out the cost price of the fan which is sold at 20% profit. So let this be X and this becomes 2300 minus X, and as selling price is same for the both, we will get 1.1 times 2300 minus X equals 1.2 times X. So you get your equation here. You just need to resolve this. So 1.1 into 2300. So in 2300 you add 230. So 2530 minus 1.1 times X equals 1.2 times X. Goes here, becomes 2.3 times X equals 2530, or X equals 25300 by 23. So 23 ones are 23, 2 remaining, combines with 2, becomes 23 again, ones are 23, 2 zeros remaining, so 1100. So the fan which got sold at 20% profit, its cost price was 1100 rupees. An electric iron box is sold at 15% profit. If it would have been sold at rupees 600, then the profit earned would have been 20%. Find out the selling price of the iron box. See, currently the iron box is sold at 15% profit. That is the profit percent. But if the selling price would have been rupees 600, then profit earned would have been 20%. So find out the selling price of the iron box. Now this is not the original selling price, then the answer would be 600. But we need to find out the selling price when it gets sold for 15%. This can be found out by first finding out the cost price of the iron box. So we know selling price is equal to 1 plus profit percent into CP, which means cost price is selling price by 1 plus profit percent. So from this we get 600 by 1.2. So the cost price works out to be 12 fives are 60. So 500. Now let us use here. Selling price is 1 plus profit percent into CP. So selling price here will be 1.15 into 500. Quite simple to multiply also. 5 fives are 25, 5 ones are 5, plus 2, 7, and 5 ones are 5. That is 575. So the original selling price should have been 575. Now A sold a bicycle to B at 20% profit and B sold it to C at 25% profit. So A sold a bicycle to B at 20% profit. That is, he increased the price 1.2 times. And B sold it to C at 25% profit. This is profit. That means B increased the price by 1.25 times. If C had paid rupees 1500 to B, then at what price did A purchase the bicycle? So let us say A purchased the bicycle for rupees A. So for rupees A, it got multiplied. It became this rupees A, which is the cost price for Mr. A. The price was first increased 1.2 times. Then it was increased 1.25 times, which was the price paid by C to B. So two ways of solving this. Either you can straight away write this as 1500 by 1.2 into 1.25. And when you remove zeros, it will become 1500 into 100 into 10, 100 for this and 10 for this, divided by 12 into 125. So 125 into 1 is 125, remains 25, combines with a 0. So 2s are 250, 12 and 12 cancel. So this remains. So A must have bought this for rupees 1000. Or else you can make use of fractional equivalent of these decimals. So 1.2 times 20% is 1 by 5. So 1.2 times or 120% shall become 6 by 5. 25% is 1 by 4. So 125% is 5 by 4. You add the denominator to the numerator. So 1.25 fraction equivalent shall be 5 by 4. Now your calculation becomes A is equal to 1500 by 6 by 5 into 5 by 4. These two cancel. This becomes 3, this becomes 2. So it becomes 1500 into 2 by 3. Cancels, becomes 500. 500 into 2, you still get 1000. Now if an article would have been sold at 20% profit instead of 15% profit, then the selling price of the article would have been rupees 500 more. Find out the cost price of the article. This is one of the easiest questions. Try and understand that initially 15% profit is made on selling the item. But if at all it would have been sold at 20% profit, then you would have earned 500 rupees more. Now how much is difference here is 5%. Now this 5% difference of the profit must be equal to rupees 500. And profit percent or loss percent are always made on cost price. So if 5% is equivalent to rupees 500, then 100% shall be equal to how much? 100 by 5 into 500, which shall give us 10,000 as the answer. So that is the cost price of the article. On selling a clock at rupees 820, so selling price is given to us as 820, a shopkeeper would have earned the same amount of profit as the amount of loss that he would have made on selling the clock at rupees 650. Find out the cost price of the clock. So two selling prices are given to us. One is 820 and the other one which is given to us here is 650. So somewhere between this is the cost price. Because on selling the item at 650, loss is made, as is given here amount of loss that he would have made on selling the clock at rupees 650. And on selling the item for rupees 820, he would have earned the same amount of profit. So here, on selling the item at rupees 820, profit is made. So between this profit and loss, somewhere the cost price of the clock lies. Now here, the profit made is rupees X. Here, the loss made is rupees X. But this is positive because it is profit. This is negative because it is loss. So that means the difference between 820 and 650 has to be equal to 2x. That is this much. 820 and cost price, x rupees is the difference. From cost price to 650, minus x is the difference. So the overall difference between 820 and 650 has to be 2x. So 820 minus 650 is 170, which is equal to 2x. So x here equals to 170 by 2. That is rupees 85. The cost price is somewhere between 820 and 650. So you can see it is 85 rupees more. So the value of x here is 65. So 820 minus 65, we get a 735. So as you can see, 735 plus 65 gives us 820 and 735 minus 65 gives us 650. And the cost price, we have found out cost price to be rupees 735. An illiterate shopkeeper marks up the price of all the goods at his shop by 50% more than the cost price of each article. So the marked price becomes 1.5 times the cost price. 50% more is 1.5 times. He somehow got confused and thought that he had marked up the prices only 25% more than the cost price for each article. If now he offers a discount of 25% on each article, then what will be his profit percent? So we are not bothered about the shopkeeper getting confused and thinking that he had marked up the price by 25% or 50% or 30%. But what we are bothered about is discount that now he is going to offer. So the discount is 25% on this item, on the mark price, which is given to us here as 1.5 times CP. So selling price we know is marked price minus discount. So that is 1.5 CP. Now this is what is given to us here as mark price minus 0.25 times 1.5 CP, because the discount percent which is given to us here is 25%. So it is 0.25 times the MRP or MP, and MP or marked price is 1.5 CP. So it is 0.75 times 1.5 times CP. You can easily convert this into fractions. Now 0.75 is 3 by 4 and 1.5 is 3 by 2 into CP. Now this works out to be 9 by 8 times CP. Now 9 by 8 is 1 plus 1 by 8 times CP. This 1 by 8 you know is 12.5% if we take its percentage equivalent, and that is the profit percent that he is earning here, because this fits in the formula SP is equal to 1 plus profit percent into CP, and this is the profit percent, which is 1 by 8, equivalent is 12.5%. Now the amount of profit earned on selling an article for rupees 840 is double the amount of loss made on selling the article at rupees 600. So we saw a similar kind of question wherein the profit made was equal to loss made. Here the profit made is double the loss made. So let us say that this is the cost price, selling price 840, there is a profit made, so it has to be above cost price, and selling price of 600, there is a loss made, so it has to be below cost price. Let us say the amount of loss made is rupees X. So the amount of profit made is double, that is 2X. It is given here. Amount of profit earned on selling an article for rupees 840 is double the amount of loss. So amount of profit is double the amount of loss. So once again, when you compare these, you find that 840 minus 600 equals 3x. See, the difference between 840 and 600 is 2x and x. 2x from 840 to CP and x from CP to 600. So total 3x is the difference between 840 and 600, which means 3x equals 240, which means x equals 240 by 3, that is rupees 80. So you increase 80 rupees here, the cost price will come out to be 680, and the difference between 840 and 680 is 160. Now observe this 160 and rupees 80, this 160 is 2 times the loss made, that is rupees 80. So the cost price of the item is rupees 680. Now a shopkeeper earns a profit equal to the selling price of 25 pence when he sells 150 pence. Now find out the profit percent earned in this transaction. Now let us follow this concept on selling X number of an article. If the profit or loss earned is equal to the selling price of Y number of article, then you can make use of this formula, that is profit percent is Y by X minus Y into 100, and in case loss is made, then Y by X plus Y by 100. So here the value of Y we know is 25 and X here is 150, so simply employing that, Y by X minus Y into 100, that is 25 by 125, which is 1 by 5 into 100, 20% profit. Alternatively, you could have used a long method, and that is profit is equal to selling price minus cost price. So profit made is of 25 pence, and that is on selling 150 pence minus cost price. So cost price has to be of 125 pence. So simply 25 pence over 125 pence into 100, the same we get here. Now find out the equivalent discount to two successive discounts of 10% and 20%. Now let me give you an example. Let us say a shirt costs rupees 1000. Now first discount is given here as 10%. So now the selling price will become 10% of 1000, which is rupees 100. So selling price becomes 900. Now second discount is offered, that is 20% on 900. Now 20% of 900 is 9 2s 18, so rupees 180. So the final selling price here is 900 minus 180, that is rupees 720. Now the marked price was 1000, selling price is 720, So the discount here is 280, and 280 on 1000 rupees is 28% discount. Now that is the equivalent discount. So two discounts of 10% and 20% are equal to one discount, one single discount of 28% on the MRP. Now how do you find this out? Now equivalent discount, if you have to find out for successive discounts, it shall be 1 minus D1% discount into 1 minus D2% discount into 1 minus D3% discount, just in case more than two discounts are given. So this is how it has to work out. So let us employ this. 1 minus first discount is 10%, so 0.1, into 1 minus second discount is 20%, so it is 0.2. 1 minus 0.1 is 0.9. 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8. So it is 1 minus 0.72, which is 0.28, and 0.28 means 28% discount. Now find out the single discount, that is equivalent discount, which will be equivalent to the successive discounts of 20%, 10%, 5%. So equivalent discount, as we learned earlier, 1 minus D1% into 1 minus D2% into 1 minus D3%. So it shall become 1 minus 0.2 into 1 minus 0.1 into 1 minus 0.05. This is 5%. This is 10%. This is 20%. So 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8 into 1 minus 0.1 is 0.9 into 1 minus 0.05 is 0.95. But this we already know, no? 0.8 into 0.9, that is 0.72. So 0.72 into 0.95 is all that we need to do. So let us do our multiplication here. So 5 2s are 10, 9 2s are 18, this is 19, 7 5s are 35, 7 9s are 63, is 66, so 0486. So 0.6840 is what we get here. So it is 1 minus 0.684, which shall be 0.316, and it is equal to 31.6% as the equivalent discount. Now how much will be the equivalent discount to three successive discounts of 30%, 20% and 10%? So this is 1 minus, let us do it directly here, 0.7 into 1 minus 0.2 shall be 0.8 into 1 minus 0.1 should be 0.9. 0.8 into 0.9 we already know is 0.72. So 1 minus 7 2s are 14, 7 7s are 49 plus 150, so 0.504. So this should work out to be 0.496, which means 49.6% is the equivalent discount. The marked price of a shirt was rupees 150. Now it's given, marked price is rupees 150 and it was sold at rupees 105. So the selling price is also given, 105. And this was done after two successive discounts. So anyhow, equivalent discount value you already know, it is rupees 45. Marked price minus selling price is discount. The second discount offered was 12.5%. Then find the first discount percent offered. Now it doesn't matter whether 12.5% is second discount or first discount. So 12.5% of 150 you need to calculate. Let us consider it as first discount only. It doesn't matter because in multiplication, A into B equals B into A, the associative property will remain, will be applied. So 12.5% we know is 1 by 8 into 150. The fraction equivalent of 12.5% is 1 by 8. So this works out to be 8 1s are 8, 70 remaining. So 8 8s are 64, 60 remaining. So 8 7s are 56, 40 remaining. So 8 5s are 40. So it is rupees 18.75. So out of 45, if we reduce this 18.75, we are left with 26.25 as the other discount that we need to find out. So this 26.25 will be the discount. Now we are taking it as a second discount because it doesn't matter whichever discount is applied first. So 26.25 we are taking on 150 minus this first discount, that is 18.75 into 100. Now that shall be equal to 26.25 divided by 131.25 into 100. From here we come here. So simply we are just cancelling the decimal points here. Now both these values are divisible by 25 because the last two digits are multiple of 25. 25 ones are 25, so 1 remaining, 2 comes down, 0, 125 is 5, so 105 is what we have here. And now dividing this by 25, we get 25 into 131 kitna jayega, 125 se ho jayega. 25 into 5 is 125, 6 remaining, so 62, so 2s are 50, so 12 remains, combines with 5. So 525 into 100. Now here also numerators and denominators, they are divisible by 5. So 5 2s are and 5 1s are. 5 1s are and this is 5. Again 21 by 105 directly goes by 5. So 100 divided by 5 is 20%. So the second discount or first discount, whatever you call here, has to be 20% on the MRP. Now shopkeeper offers a discount of 20% on an article and still earns a profit of 20%. So discount here is 20%. Profit percent is also 20%. Now by how much percent is the marked price more than the cost price of the article? See, selling price we know is 1 plus profit percent into CP, which in this case should be 1.2 times CP because profit percent here is given to us as 20%. Now we also know that selling price equals marked price minus discount, but discount here is the actual value. So I can also say this is 1 minus discount percent times the marked price. So selling price here becomes 1 minus discount percent into marked price. Discount percent is given to us as 20%. So 1 minus 0.2 times marked price. So it becomes 0.8 times marked price. Now these two you compare. So 0.8 times marked price is equal to 1.2 times CP, or 8 times marked price is equal to 12 times CP, or marked price equals 12 by 8 CP, that is 3 by 2. So we can say marked price is 1.5 times cost price. So how much more than 1? 1 plus 0.50 times CP. So marked price here is 50% more than the cost price. So this becomes your answer. If you want to take an instance or an example, let marked price be rupees 100. Discount percentage is 20%. So selling price is 80. Profit percent is 20%. So cost price is 80 by 1.2, which is 66.66. Now, the difference between marked price and cost price is 33.33, which is half of 66.66. So 50% more. Now, on offering a discount of 10% on an article, a profit of 20% is made. So discount percent is 10%, profit percent is 20%. If the discount offered would have increased to 20%, this is first case, this is second case, then what would have been the profit percent? Now let us take an instance that marked price is rupees 100. Discount is 10%, which is rupees 10. So selling price will work out to be 100 minus 10, that is 90 rupees. Now the profit is 20%. So cost price is selling price by 1 plus profit percent, that is 1.2 times. So 12 sevens are 84. 6 remaining combined with a 0. So 60, so 7, so 12 fives are 60. So the cost price works out to be 75 rupees. Now this is from the first case we calculated the cost price. Now let us employ this in the second case when MRP is 100 rupees, cost price is 75, discount is 20%. So 20% discount means rupees 20. So selling price here is 80. Now selling price is 80, cost price is 75. So profit percent here is 80 minus 75, that is selling price minus cost price, by cost price, that is 75 into 100. So this becomes 5 by 75 into 100. These cancel, goes by 15. Again cancels by 5. 5 3s are and 20s are. So profit percent is 20 by 3%, and that is 6.67%. That will be the profit earned if discount is doubled in this case. Now an article is purchased by a shopkeeper for rupees 3000. So cost price is given to us as 3000. At what price should he mark the article so that even after offering a discount of 25%, he still earns a 10% profit? So profit to be earned is 10%, discount to be offered is 25%. See, from these two, you can find out the selling price. And what is selling price? Profit is 10%. So 10% of 3000 is 300. So the selling price must be 3300. So selling price equals 1 minus discount percent into MP, or MP here equals to selling price by 1 minus discount percent, as we have discussed. This shall be 3300 by 0.75 because this is 0.25 and 1 minus 0.25 shall be 0.75. So this is 3300 by 0.75 is 75%, which is 3 by 4. So we can write it as 3300 by 3 and here 4 goes by 1100. 4400 shall be the marked price of this item to fulfill all these criteria. So that brings us to the end of the session, wherein we have discussed variety of questions based on different concepts, based on the questions found in previous year CSAT papers. So please do revise the concepts because profit and loss is a very important topic from the examination point of view. We will meet again in the next discussion. Till then, I wish you all the best. Please work hard, stay safe, and thank you so much.